Welcome to thestockminer.com. I'm Brian Johnson. Coming into not only a short week, but an options expiration week. So we will be obviously on the lookout for volatility during the week itself. I am doing this video on Sunday night, and as it is right now, it seems the markets are slightly down right now. So I guess it wouldn't surprise me to see a little bit of a gap to start the day Tuesday to the downside. But what have we seen in the past? All dips have been bought right away by the bulls. So if we gap down Tuesday morning, not saying that's what we're going to see, but at this point we are down ever so slightly, about 3.5 points right now in the futures. And some of the foreign markets are faring only okay. So if we open gap down Tuesday, I would be very cautious about getting too excited to the short side until we really get a better feel for what's going on. The bulls have been buying the dips. Keep that in mind. These levels are still the places to be looking for as we push forward. I like this 11,700-ish area down here, especially now that it's going to be below the 50-period moving average here on the 60-minute charts. You can see that we have been at a pretty steep angle so far, but this angle has been working out very well. The trend seems okay at this point, and as long as we can stay above some of these levels here, should be just fine to the upside, continuing into at least the first part of the week. Apple will be reporting Tuesday after the close, so Wednesday, maybe we start to see, if we see strength on Tuesday into Wednesday afternoonish or so might be a good time, even Thursday, to see maybe a more violent move to the downside. It's anybody's guess at this point. But that would be the gut feeling for me. I would be surprised to see the NASDAQ crash before Apple reports earnings. So I would expect that maybe even if we do see even a bit of a gap down on Tuesday morning, I'm not sure Apple will follow suit. It wouldn't surprise me to see the markets gap down, but Apple stay pretty level when it opens up. So I'd watch for that Apple earnings report and be cautious about holding in that case. Back to the Dow on the daily, you can see everything looks fine, just as it did back here. Everything's holding up, moving up, working itself upwards. Just fine so far. Same thing here. We are very stretched though. I believe we're going to hit a point where once we start to see these down candles, we'll see some pretty sizable red ones, and that should eat up a lot of what we've done back here. I don't think it's going to take long once this plop starts to happen for us to get back into and below this 11.6 mark, which is another big area I'm watching for on the Dow itself. We should see some red candles as such cover a lot of these, so it might be one red candle is going to equal about 5 of these, and you're going to see the power of the bear side when that happens. But right now, it's anybody's guess. You know, we're still climbing. The trend is still just fine as it is right now, so no reason to get too panicked quite yet if you are bullish on the markets. Wait for it to break those lower levels. NASDAQ is, of course, straight up parabolic, looking very strong right here. Absolutely no reason to think it can't climb a little bit higher, especially with Apple reporting on Tuesday. NASDAQ daily showing us here many days up in a row, but still holding very well as volume is holding strong. Been very good to us ever since January hit. Remember I talked to you about how things would drift off towards the last couple weeks of December? Here it was, and now we're right back up into the big dog volume again. Why? No one wants to make a lot of changes before the beginning of the year, but now that we're there, we are seeing some big, good, strong buying coming into the market. NASDAQ weekly also up as well after last week, still showing good strength there, continuing into the new week. Remember, options expiration week. I'll be very curious to see where the weekly candles start to close. Yes, I will have my eyes on those quite a bit. SPX, same thing. Broke this overhead, came back, tested, and then moved up. This is just textbook technical analysis, giving you some options to the upside, although you know how I feel about that. I'm very cautious to the upside. If I am playing anything to the upside, it is in the futures, whereas I have the opportunity for a little bit more control on when to get in, when to get out. If you want to continue playing this to the upside, great. We are into that 1290, 1300-ish area. Those are my next areas. It's really 5 points, every 5 points for me, guys. 1290, 1295, 1300, 1305, maybe 1310. I'm putting less stress on the fives, more stress on the zeros. So 1390, 1290, 1300, 1310, those type of things as we push to the upside. SPX daily, same type of a thing, still looking very good up here as well. Broke this, came back, retest, and moved to the upside. It's the 20 days, guys, the 20-day moving averages. Watch those closely on any kind of pullback and or retests of those areas. This is a long ways away, though. There are opportunities to maybe grab a few points to the downside if we can see some of these lower levels broke. 1280 might be a really good place to look for one. 1285-ish maybe for the more aggressive. Some of these areas in here are a little bit more dangerous to take, but I like below 1280. I think that's a pretty safe place to maybe look for a little bit of a shorting opportunity there. SPX weekly looking very strong, as are all the rest of them. Look how nicely it sat on top of that 200-week moving average before pushing itself upwards. So as we continue to the upside, like I said, keep watching. 1300, 1310, boy, very, very stretched up in that area. So I'd be very cautious to the upside, remembering to take profits when you're given them, and be cautious, cautious, cautious not to necessarily get burned on any kind of hold overnight. VIX daily also showing us a lot of weakness. The VIX is flopping. There's no problem. Kind of went in and redecorated some of these lines, took out some lines is what I did, and you can see here, I guess my best interpretation of a technical analysis job on the VIX chart would look like this. I'm not big about TA in the VIX. I just don't think it gives us the consistent information that I would like to see within a charted type of a stock, and in this case a volatility index is just not something I like to chart. However, overall, bigger picture, back into this pattern we saw on the weekly and showing us huge red candle, which means zero really stress in the markets. They're not at all running for the hills by any means. Big white candles like this, now maybe we're running for the hills. Big red candles like this, not so much. So continuing to watch these lower levels as it drops back into 15, guys. If you're an options player, buying down in here is not a bad idea. Whether it's puts or calls, I don't care. It's up to you. But options down in this area with the VIX as low as it is, yeah, if you're smart about what to buy and when to buy, you know what? It's not a bad place to be buying. This is really kind of an options trader's type dream when it's down this low. Apple 60-minute continues its climb to the upside, watching that 350 overhead area very closely. And then anything back below about 345, 344, if you're looking to maybe get out of some long positions and or maybe look for some shorts in Apple, it's completely up to you, but you can see how strong it's been. Looking for that to maybe continue into Tuesday, possibly a pullback or a sideways day on Apple on Tuesday. Not uncommon to see that at all before it reports earnings. Then let's see what happens overnight coming into Wednesday. Apple Weekly also looking strong. Kind of gave you my best guess scenario as to where this might hold up. Did not work. Last week it busted up and over this and is now above this for at least 1 week. I always give the bears at least a week to get this thing back down, but you can see for at least 1 week still holding up very nicely. If you would like a little bigger play on what is going on in Apple, I'm actually going into this more with my subscribers this week. This was one I added. I don't usually put Apple on my subscribers list, but this week I did. I think there are some very big potentials coming up in Apple, and man, I don't want just these type of setups don't happen very often, and so I'm going to make sure that I share that. I'll share it with my subscribers. I will tell you guys that there are some opportunities coming up in Apple. If you want to wait, I would tell you that the most conservative places to look for are maybe below that 344-ish and below this 340-ish area before you start looking for things. Otherwise, if you're interested in a little bit more deeper scale on Apple and what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be trading Apple myself, it's all in the subscribers newsletter if you're interested in trying that out for a month or 2 or 5 or 10 or 12. FAS 60-minute, you can see it. We talked about it Friday. Look at that, hitting this overhead line beautifully here and holding very, very nicely. So we're going to see the same thing in FAS, only of course on the downside. This is a good place to start looking and being very cautious about anything to the long side on FAS. If it gets up above 3160, okay, yeah, maybe you got an opportunity there. And I do believe there still could be a little bit of left, a little bit of a throw coming within the banks, within FAS in particular. So you could have a little bit more opportunity to the long side. You're going to want to be very careful. Looking at it from a daily, I don't have this line drawn in, but I'll show you what I'm looking at on FAZ, and you can just kind of reverse it for the FAS. And what we're looking at here is FAZ. Notice how it's at the bottom of this line. See this channel going down, of course, for obvious reasons. You can see it toeing the bottom line here. Now, any push down below 820, I'm looking for a mark of about $8. Right around that $8 mark. Now, if you're looking to go long FAZ, some of you have been asking me about it. Hey, what do I do? Hey, what do I do? You know what? You do what you want to do. I'm going to give you some ideas. I don't like going long down here. It's just too speculative for me. However, with that being said, if you would like me to make a little bit more speculative call for you and give you more of a speculative idea of where I might be tempted to take along an FAZ, it's going to be right down here at this blue line. So if it gets down here into this $8-ish range and you guys are chomping at the bit to get long, this is not a bad place to start looking for a long. I think it's very defensible down here. That's why I would suggest it. Ordinarily, I would tell you to run as fast as you could from a long in this stock. However, being how the market is what it is, where we're at in the markets, the information I'm seeing from the markets, and where I see these stocks at right now today, this is not a bad setup and certainly one I'm looking for, not be afraid to take maybe a little bit of a long position in FAZ down here at the $8 mark. Am I going to throw my whole account at it? Heck no. But I would put a few shares in here. Let's say you were looking at buying 100 shares of FAZ. 25 or 50 of them, maybe I would put in at $8. And then as it started to climb its way back in, I'd put another 25 or 50 into it until I got to a full position. This is called averaging into a trade. This is a very wise thing to do. If you take it at $8 and it goes up, good, you've made some money. If you take it at $8 and it goes down, it's very defensible, A, to get out of quickly, and B, you don't lose your butt. And that's the point in trading the markets. All right, guys, let you go. Let's see where everything opens on Tuesday. It's Sunday night right now. My Packers won. I'm very excited. So if any of you have front row seats to the Super Bowl, yeah, I'd be real interested in that. Maybe we could work something out. If the Packers make the Super Bowl, we got to get through Chicago first. Very difficult game coming there. I would have much rather played the Seahawks, if I'm just being honest, because we just don't know them. We don't play them as often. The Bears just seem to have our number, and we play them quite a bit, so it's going to be a dogfight this weekend. But if we make the Super Bowl and anybody would like to talk to me about Super Bowl tickets that you might have, I am all ears. Okay, thanks, guys, and we'll see you again then Tuesday night. Bye.